Hey everyone, I'm Michael Seiger, publisher of DomainSherpa.com, and this is the Domain Sherpa Review. This is the show where we get into the minds of successful domain name investors using real examples so we can learn strategies and tactics. Our sponsors include nichewebsites.com, a service that builds and ranks websites so you can focus on your business. Esterbot.com, a domain name appraisal tool that we use on this show to gather data about all the domains we discuss. And DNX.com, a reverse auction domain name marketplace where buy it now prices decrease over time. All three sponsors have links in the upper right-hand corner of all pages on Domain Sherpa. Joining us today on the Domain Sherpa Review are four past Sherpas and thought leaders. In order from left to right, we have Adam Dicker, CEO of DNForum.com, nichewebsites.com, and publisher of theartofthename.com. Michael Berkens, publisher of thedomains.com, co-founder of Right of the Dot, and founder of the marketplace mostwanteddomains.com. Paige Howe, founder and president of joedomains.com and domainoutlet.com. And Rick Schwartz, the domain king and co-founder of the Traffic Domain Industry Conference. Gentlemen, welcome to this week's show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we have three sections to the show. First, we're going to review an investor-submitted domain name portfolio. We're going to discuss it and value it. Then we're going to review a marketplace list from namejet.com. And then we're going to wrap it up with our available or registered game. Actually, I have a different game for you guys today. Different game to play. We're gonna play Name That Price. Get ready, I'll explain more when we get to that section. Two warnings before we get started. If you're starting in domain name investing today, as we discussed on the February 6th show, start with 10 domain names, prove out your strategy that you can actually sell the domain names and make money, make a profit off those before investing more. Go watch the February 6th domain name show. Also, for transparency, I asked the Sherpas if they will benefit from discussing any of the domains on today's show in the NameJet auction. Do any of you have domain names that are in the list that we're discussing today? All right.
No.
There are none. Then we're going to move right into the first section. In the domain portfolio review, we take user-submitted domain name portfolios and provide honest and constructive feedback to the owners, and we also learn from that portfolio. So if we were thinking about buying those or buying similar type names, we can get into the minds of the Sherpas. If you're watching the show on YouTube, click the link below in the description to see the list of domains discussed on today's show. If you've watched the Domain Sherpa review in the past, you know that we've reviewed portfolios either from newer investors or we take one domain name from many investors around a theme. Last week, we discussed how new investors could get started in investing. Today, we're going to deviate from that and take a slightly different perspective. So the background is new top-level domains are coming out every week for the next year or two. Some in the industry are looking at this as an opportunity to buy great domain names in the .com TLD. So while others are going to look at speculative opportunities and, exciting and hot new top-level domains, others are just looking at the .com and saying, I think that those are going to be winners. I'm going to buy .com domain names. So when an experienced investor reached out to me and mentioned that he'd recently done just that, I thought it would be interesting to review them on the Domain Sherpa Review. So today we're going to look at 15 single-word in the dictionary.com domain names that were purchased all within the past few months by domain investor, entrepreneur, and past Sherpa, Braden Pollock. The domains start with complimentary.com and end with vaccinate.com. They were all purchased in the 4 and 5 figures, is what Braden told me. And so that's all, he doesn't want to give too much information. That's what we're going with. Paige, let's start with you this time. What do you like on the list? If you could pick just a few domains, and what do you think is the retail end user value for those domains?
Well, obviously a great list. They're one-word names, and they're the right one-word names. They're not a one-word name because they have an ly or a suffix or a prefix or something. So if I look at the list, I think to go down alphabetically, maybe my top 5, I like configure.com because I feel like it has a positive connotation to figuring something out, does fit well with the technology world where you're trying to configure something. So I think it's less a consumer app than something in the technology business. So I like that one. I like complimentary because it seems to have a more luxurious feel than free or discount or best. there's this idea that it's complimentary, which sounds a lot better than just free or cheap or something. Explanation.com, obviously a how-to site for the internet. Playback.com is probably my favorite one on the list. It just seems to have a little bit more appeal than just being a dictionary word. It's got some hip-hopness to it. It's in the music industry. There's just this idea of kind of you're sitting there producing an album and you're like, play it back or playback. So it just seemed to have the most punch of the group. I couldn't figure out what to do with sense.com. Leash.com was interesting because I guess you could go pets with it. Or maybe it's about like things husbands can do. How much room do you have? How long is your leash or something like that?
Hey, Paige, put some prices on here for me. If you own these in your portfolio today, what would you, and you were going to list them with a buy it now price, what would you list them at?
Well, I was going to list them for buy it now. I'd probably put complimentary at $250, configure at $250,000, explanation at say $225, playback at $200,000, and my next one would be Parsley, and I'm probably the only one who likes this one, but the idea that I got with Parsley would be the garnish of life. You've got everything figured out, and what's the little extra that you put on there? So, I was successful once doing this, putting a high buy it now. You catch someone who decides they want it now. They don't want to go through how much is it? I don't know. How much do you have? I don't know. How much is it? So I'd put high buy it nows and sit back and wait for someone to buy them.
And you would actually put buy it now prices on all of these rather than, say, make an offer?
No, you asked me to put a buy it now.
Okay.
I think the ones that I would put buy it nows on would be configure and playback. And maybe some of the other ones I would do half buy it now and half make offer. But I think there's something to be said for giving someone the certainty that they can for sure take down a name right now for this price, and then they just do it. And you get an email that says, hey, you just sold this domain for $300,000.
Yeah, but in order to do that, you need to be pretty confident that that's a fair, selling price and buying price, right?
No, I think you need to be lucky, but you've put yourself in a position to be lucky. You know what I mean? You haven't sat there and said, we don't know what the right way to do it is. I mean, I know Rick's been successful and Mike and Adam with counteroffer, so half one way, half the other way, and then you'll find out.
Yeah. All right, Mike, let's go over to you. What do you think about the list? What do you like? Mike, you're still muted. You're still muted, Mike.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
All right, so out of the list, I like complimentary, like Paige did. I think it's a good name. I think it's very brandable, and
for what?
For upgrades, for hotel rooms, upgrades for airfare, add-ons that could be given, with purchases. Perks, like a perks club, a lot of things, I think. I think 250 is pretty aggressive, to be honest, because it's a little long and maybe hard to spell. So I think maybe, I don't know if it's a 250 kind of name. I think it's more of like a 100-ish kind of name. But, I like the name. I like playback, also like Paige. Obviously for music, for video, it goes with a lot of stuff. I think again 250 may be a little aggressive, but something in the 100 range it would be fine. The only other two I like, and I don't like them as much as the first two, possibly is suggestion. Could be used for like a gifting kind of site. Or wedding gifting, or suggesting even domain names that people might be interested in or want to register. So I I like that, not as much, but a little bit. And the other one might be returns, which might be good for a financial site, mutual funds, so they're tracking return on investment. Of course, returns as far as returning merchandise and online purchases as well. I like a little bit. I don't think that's a 6-figure name though. I think that's a 5-figure name. So those are the ones I kind of like. The thing leash, not so big on, although I certainly would like to see Mr. Schwartz on one. and parsley, I kind of, parsley is not bad, but I think that's more like a $25,000 kind of name that doesn't really mean anything. So a web 2.0 kind of term, nothing to do with what the site would be, just something that would be memorable.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I got out of this thing.
All right. Let's go to Rick. What do you think about the list?
Well, overall, it's obviously a really nice list. And, there's some interesting names on here that, I look at a list and I try to see if a whale, a big company, could really use it. And when I look at it through those eyes, the two that kind of jump out at me is like returns.com. I can see Amazon.com or someone that wanted to make a statement how easy it is to exchange things or returns. And, then I look at kind of a company like Sears is having all kinds of trouble, and JCPenney, and they have all these problems, and part of the problem is they're not effectively communicating and reaching their end users and their own customers. And I look at a domain like suggestion.com as a way to possibly bridge gaps like that, or returns, or so again, it's kind of far-fetched, but when I just kind of look at the marketplace and look at a void, and I see those companies struggling, and it's like, well, what can they do? And that would be my advice, is get in touch with their own customer base, and that's a way to do it. I like Configure a lot. I think that's could be a big money name, definitely a techie name. Many multiple uses. It's really multifaceted. I even like Crawl. I think Crawl is a good one as well, and you can do many things with that.
What can you do with Crawl?
Well, it could be a baby site, for instance. It could be everything is Crawl. Originally was about crawling the internet and finding stuff, and I'm sure a tech company can find something on the internet to crawl for, to maybe set up your own crawls or whatever. Who knows? But I think there's something there. And Playback is a great brandable domain name. So and I never look at pricing them. It really depends on who's coming of interest. And so I think actually complimentary is probably the weakest one on the list, because it's long and it's a little bit hard to spell. And I like returns, because income tax returns wasn't mentioned, and I think that would be very good. And I also mentioned about Amazon or someone like that having a site returns. And anyone that wants to shake things up, a lot of these are just to shake things up. And Narrate. I look at a domain like Narrate, and you start thinking of Disney, or you start thinking of a cartoon company, you start thinking of documentary companies, or voiceovers, and so I kind of like Narrate a lot, because that's a good commercial domain name. As a matter of fact, it's probably the most commercial domain name on the entire list is narrate.com. So that's my thoughts.
All right. Adam, what are your thoughts on the list?
All right. I have a difference of opinion. I took notes on what the other guys said. So I'm going to tell you my little poem about these names first, and then we'll go from there.
You wrote a poem.
I wrote a poem, especially for you in this situation. We'll see if you get
Is it a
get the
haiku?
catch as you go.
All right, go for
it. Here we go. When I crawled this list, I needed someone to narrate an explanation as to why I had so many inquiries on these not-so-great names. I'd like to make a statement and a few suggestions. What I would do is first play back why I wanted these names and why I should have put a leash on me to keep me from making many returns and refund requests from these purchases. Sometimes with my refusal to give up parsley, I end up going to get vaccinated because I have an allergy. My end result here is I'd rather put 50 to 200K into parsley than these domains that almost mean nothing and cannot form legitimate businesses. These names prove not all one-word domains are valuable, even when configurable. So 4 to 5 figures for these names. I would have to agree on a couple of them. I mean, I don't think any of these are worth 5 figures to me. Configure is probably the best one because you could tell everybody how to configure everything from sound cards to graphic cards to anything like that. There's a lot of different tech stuff you could do. Crawl could be as a search engine because back in the day we had a lot of metacrawler.com and a lot of other ones where they did crawls. The rest of them, I mean, I sold lentils for a lot of money, so parsley doesn't really scare me off, but it's not a $100,000 name.
What is it?
Maybe 10 to 20.
But you sold lentils for a lot of money. Why wouldn't parsley be just as good?
Because people kick it off the plate. People eat lentils. I mean, people actually want lentils. It's not just a decoration. Although parsley apparently is good for getting rid of the flu if you have the flu. Somebody told me that today.
Berkens is thinking about the adult joke about parsley and something else, and hardly anyone eats parsley. Is that what you're thinking about, Berkens?
I take the fifth on the whole thing.
I'll have to look that up afterwards, but my opinion of this list is that it is not a nice list. It is a list of what you can do with 4 to 5 figures and buy a whole bunch of dictionary domain names that you cannot and will have to strive hard to build a successful business that's going to grow and grow and grow. Now, if these are flip names, maybe it's a different story, but if you paid 5 figures for some of these, it's going to be a while to flip them. So well, I do not like the list.
But I think that in general, when people are buying domain names like this, they're speculating to some degree. You know, they're saying, more experienced investors will say, I think I'm buying it for wholesale value, or I think I'm buying it at the floor. And if I needed to try and sell complimentary on NameJet, it would probably sell for, 4 or 5 figures, let's say.
I just don't think these are names people are going to be excited to grow businesses on right away. I disagree. I don't see that. I just don't see it. For me, it's not a good list. And my advice at the end of my poem, although it's not very friendly, is you said it's Braden?
Braden.
Hire a personal domain shopper.
So how do you reconcile?
Well, I'm gonna take you back. I'll jump in here. I'll take you guys back, those of you that are 50, to the days of Saturday Night Live, and I'll have to go with Dan Aykroyd's famous retort, Jane, you ignorant slut.
I just talked about that the other day.
These names are the reason that we get into domaining, and you may not be able to sit there and build a business on them.
It's also the reason we get out of domaining.
When someone says we're going to start a $500,000, $1 million, or a $50 million business, and one of our decisions to make is to get a domain name, it's like going to a jeweler and saying, what do you got in the case? And this is the type of case that I think you want to show off and say, this is what we have in the case. I think they're good names, they're unique, and they're the type of names where at $200,000, say you use it for 10 years, that's $20,000 a year, that's $1,500 a month equivalent rent, to have something that's instantly memorable. So I think this is the reason we got into domaining, Adam. I think these are the names. It's not the same thing as building a business, but these are the Glengarry leads. These are the good names.
I don't think so. I can't see you telling me you would take $250,000 right now and buy those specific names. There's nothing out there better for you to buy. Seriously?
I think there's probably 20 things you could do with $250,000.
Okay, so where would this rank on the list?
But buying oneword.coms and having one pay you back for all the money you spent, and then everything else is upside, and it costs you $120 a year to hold them, this is the position you want to be in. Is someone saying, that's the name we want? Or if someone says, hey, you know what, we're starting up a thing, we're doing a thing, we'd like a really unique and memorable name, what do you got? And I think being able to show inventory makes a difference.
What, leash? Here we go, we got a leash.
Yeah.
That's what we got. But I'm not doing a dog business.
We got returns. Returns could also be election returns.
Returns is not a positive item in general for retail.
Sorry.
I mean, I don't. Since has no value. Since what? Statement suggestions may be better if it was plural.
Right.
Vaccinations would probably be better. I mean, I just don't see this list as a list worth $250,000. And it goes back to those other guys like Discouraged Domainers and things like that saying, okay, I would not have the money to buy these. So does that mean I don't have any hope in the domain business, or I just won't be able to buy the quality of names that Paige and Mike and Rick think are good names? Because there's a lot better names than this.
But I mean, let's just make a statement. So there's 15 names on the list. So nobody represented that this list cost $250,000 to acquire, right?
He said 4 to 5.
4 to 5 figures. That's all I know.
Let's say it's 200. Let's say it's 200.
I would spend 200 on this list. Wholesale, it's 200.
Yeah, but four figures is as low as $1,000.
Yeah, but most of them are going to let's say give them the low side and say 10,000 a piece, because most of them are probably 5 figures or up or 4.
I'm just saying nobody said it was that he spent $250,000 on the list, right?
No.
There's no
I don't know.
representation of that.
Right.
Okay, so let's switch it around. Michael, what would this list be worth to you to buy?
For me to buy, or for an end user to buy?
Yeah, if you were provided this list, Mike, and said, make me an offer on this list, what would you pay for it as a package?
Yeah, I mean, I think all of the names are 4-figure names to buy. You know, I'm not, probably as a package for something around 40-ish, maybe.
Exactly.
3,000 name.
That's what I would say too.
But he's buying them at wholesale value. He's not buying them at retail value.
Right.
So you'd buy them for $450, and Mike, you said you'd sell, 2 of them in the 100-ish range, and a couple of them in the 5-figure range.
I may try.
Yeah, but remember, Michael, Seiger, these new domainers don't have time like the rest of us on the panel do to sit and wait. Like Michael, Strick, myself, and maybe even Paige, we have time to wait. Like somebody asked me about a domain I picked up, and they asked me what I'm going to do with it. So I'm going to sit on it for 5 years and see what happens.
Right.
Some of these people that put all their money into this, the 40K or whatever it is, they got to flip some quick.
So is it fair to say that if you're buying these domain names, you should expect to sit on them for 5 to 10 years for offers to come in that are going to be worth you selling them for? I see Paige nodding. I see Rick nodding.
Any name.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, the idea that a name was for sale yesterday and everyone in the world passed on it, but somehow I bought it, and now tomorrow someone's going to pay me 10x what they wouldn't pay yesterday. You have to have time. Time and change and movement in markets has to take place. Otherwise, if you're frustrated that something you bought today doesn't sell tomorrow, you really are unrealistic because you're just hoping that a miracle happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
I mean, I like Braden and all, but these names are not worth, and none of them here are worth 5 figures to me.
Well, to you, but to an end user is the question.
Let's see how long he sits and waits.
Well, so if he sits 5 years and sells one for $100,000 and covers, his expense, let's say, I don't know what he paid, but let's say that it covers most of his expense. Is that worth it?
It is, but I don't think it's going to happen. He's not going to get 100K for any name on this list.
What do you think, Mike? Will he get 100K for one of the names on the list?
It's possible. It's possible. I mean, I don't think anything is like in the 250-ish range, but it's possible to get 100.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, it's an overall. He spent whatever he spent on this list of names. I don't know if it was 25,000, 100,000, 300,000, but I mean, can playback sell for 75 to 100? It could, certainly could. Some of these other ones could sell for that. It could, yeah.
So let's go one better. How about Mike Seiger if we all go around and rate the portfolio out of 10?
Okay.
As opposed to what else is out there.
It's really hard.
That's
it's hard
like
to do
saying,
without knowing what the cost was, though.
Exactly. You can't do it without the
guessing
cost.
That's what costs. We don't know the cost, so how are we going to say?
Don't get me wrong. I appreciate. Go ahead,
Paige.
Paige.
One thing.
Say it's 10,000 a name.
Let's go for Paige, and then we'll go to you, Rick. Paige, go ahead.
Say it's 10,000 a name, 150.
Yep.
I think this is more than a reasonable speculation, and there's different parts of the domain market, and this is saying I'm going to buy fine jewelry. You know what I mean? I'm equipped to, as opposed to maybe our shop, which is more equipped to do purpose names and flipping and marketing and stuff like that. This is fine jewelry, wood paneling, nice store, come on in. What can we help you with today? Are you looking for a one-word name? And that's the way to go about our business. Yeah, it's not the way for everybody, but certainly a good way to go about the business.
Personally, I'd rather have 1,500 fresh registers that I know I could make more money than 150 on.
Rick, what do you say?
I would say that the list that I got that I've been getting a lot of jazz about is less risky. Is a less risky investment than this is.
Exactly.
That's all I'm saying. It's not that it's a bad list because I think it's a good list. I just say that tying up, whether it's 50,000, 250,000, regardless, I'm going to end up making my money back quicker, I believe, than he will in the long run. But he can hit a home run. He can absolutely hit a home run.
But so could you.
Well,
I could.
He could, but which do you think is more likely to happen? Braden sells, makes $250,000 profit on selling, as many domains as he can within 5 years, or Rick Schwartz making $250,000 profit in 5 years on the portfolio that he bought, that we discussed 2 weeks ago.
Right here, that guy.
What do you think, Mike? Adam says Rick has a greater potential to make $250,000 off of his hand-registered portfolio than this 15 names portfolio by Braden.
Gross 250. I would say no. I'd say that Braden has a better chance. I don't know what Braden paid. So as far as make, if he paid 200, then he needs to gross 450. I don't know what he paid.
Yeah,
so
I don't know either. I think assuming some low six-figure order of magnitude is probably safe, but I don't know.
I mean, who has a chance of generating $250,000 in revenue? I would say this portfolio.
But listen, my risk is a thimbleful compared to his risk. That's the whole point.
Well, but how do you say that? You spent $3,000 the first year. You're going to drop some number.
I'm going to spend less than $10,000 over the course of 3 years. So my total investment in this race is $10,000. That's my total exposure.
Which is probably
maybe 1/25th his total exposure, and I have just as good a chance to come in the money in the first as he does. So if you think about it, it's just a better risk, maybe. I mean, but he may have $1 million domain name here. Okay, believe me, there's a couple here, depending on who needs what. Could be a 7-figure domain name or a couple of 6-figure ones, and a couple of them aren't going to have a lot of value to anybody. But you know what? We'll probably get to see, because that's what's so wonderful about domaining.
Yeah.
Is we're going to see in the next 3 to 5 years, if he sells any of these, we're going to hear about it. If I sell any of mine, we're going to hear about it. But I'm kind of risk adverse, and I'd rather pull out 10,000 than 250,000. And I think my inventory, it's just more diversified. I have a little bit of, I think my flotation may be better, but we'll see. Listen, I think it's a great thing to watch, and we'll all find out together.
I think at the very least we've motivated him to sell lots of names quickly.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far.
No
Paige,
way.
what do you think?
I wouldn't sell anything unless it was $250 in the first 3 months.
I agree with that.
I mean, when you buy this portfolio, this isn't the same thing as a guy coming into hand-reg names. This is like, well, I could buy a rental property for $150,000 or put $150,000 down on a piece of real estate or buy this. And I think with one-word domains, you've got liquidity probably near his purchase price, because when someone says, hey, what do you want to buy? I don't know, you got any one-word.coms? Yeah, you do. So you've got liquidity near your purchase price and upside for a good buyer to come. So I think this is for a passive investor, someone who has more money than time. This is the type of thing you want to do. But you got to be smart with everyone you buy. I mean, you don't just want to go in there and say, hey, what are 10 one-word domains I can buy? Here's $150,000. But
listen, the weak one is since.com. That's probably the weakest one on the list, and I think everyone so far basically agrees. So, look.
And it's still a $10,000 name.
Well, I gotta say, I love, as an interviewer and host, that we have some infighting going on the panel. Like, that is interesting. And for the readership, I'm sure they really appreciate hearing that Adam thinks that the portfolio doesn't have as much value as, Paige thinks that the value has, and Rick thinks that his hand registrations are worth more than these oneword.coms. Like, and that's the beauty of the domain name industry. No, I don't think
they're worth more. No. I didn't say they're worth more. I said the risk factor is much less for what I got, and I could end up having the same results.
Right. Good point. Thanks for the clarification. I agree.
And I don't agree.
And you're probably right.
I think, the risk factor is different. Say you had $150,000. Rick still has $130,000 in his pocket. and he only risked 10. So it's like he bought an option. The worst he can do is still have his 130 that he kept dry. You know what I mean? And so he doesn't have to get out of his. One of the risks of this portfolio is you do have to get out of them. I mean, if you said, well, I got my 150 in, I need to get 120 out, how am I going to do that? So then you're going to find out just how much of a margin of error you built in when you bought the name. I think Warren Buffett calls it a moat. You know what I mean? How much margin of error did you have when you bought that even if you had to get out, you'd be okay? Now with Rick's deal, he's still got 80% of his money that he never spent. But if he has to get out of his names, he gets zero.
I'm going to give him $130,000. I'm going to give Braden $130,000 and ask him how many of these I can buy with my change left over. That way I get to dance in both weddings. How do I lose?
Do you need me to sing my poem again?
No, do not sing your poem. And you modified configure to configurable. Next time I want you to finish it up with the actual word.
Did you play it back complimentary for us?
Isn't a poem supposed to rhyme at all?
No, I'm not good at poetry.
It's more of a short story.
A very short story.
All right, so in both cases, if Rick and if Braden went on to dnforum.com and posted these domain names for sale to the wholesale market, how many offers would Rick get for a domain name and how many offers would Braden get for a domain name?
Well, first, if he didn't post it as...
I don't sell to domainers. I didn't buy mine to sell to goddamn domainers, for God's sakes. I'm buying users. The last place I'm going to go is on DN Forum to dump it. I mean, come on. Listen, neither of these are for domainers. These are for end users, okay? It's all about end users. People selling to domainers are leaving a lot of money on the table. Come on. Buy it through the eyes of an end user.
Thanks, Rick. I love it when I can alley-oop and you can just slam dunk it for me. I don't think we need to discuss that question anymore.
Slam dunk your head.
All right. Any final thoughts on Braden Pollock's portfolio before we move on to section 2? All right. Thank you, gentlemen. We are going to be off next week, but back on February 26th with the Domain Sherpa Review. Listen to the end of the show and find out who's going to win the game and get to pick the theme for that next show and a description of that theme. All right, we're going to move on to the marketplace list. This is a section sponsored by NameJet. We're going to be reviewing 20 domain names headed to auction soon. The links below to the domain names go directly to NameJet, so you don't have to go there and search for it. None of the links are commissionable. They're just trackable, so NameJet can see how much traffic we're sending them. The list starts with accentflowers.com and ends with a 3-letter WQD.com. Adam, let's start with you this time. What do you like on the NameJet list and why?
I like body sculpting. I think it's pretty good. I like domain name consulting because it's our business. It's long, but it's our business. I like electronic dog collar, not bad. Green engine, not bad. Could be a thing of the future. Personal print, it's good if you're printing some stuff, and I think it's decent. Retirement house, I don't know if it's the right words, but it's not horrible, but I'd rather have retirement home. Senior health, I think Paige may be more interested in that because he's got some history with some seniors. Stress centers, everybody's going to need a stress center at some point because, well, everybody's stressed out. The shelter, I don't know about that. I mean, the shelter. No, not really. Thrombosis, it's okay. I mean, it's a decent name. My favorite here, though, is definitely transcription services. It's a business. It's a business unto its own. There's a lot of people that transcribe videos and audio, and they put into notes so we can use them in our videos as text. So I really like transcription services.
Yeah. What do you think transcription services will sell for on NameJet?
What's it at now? Do we know?
No, it's in pre. I'm not sure if it has a higher. I'm not sure if it has a reserve either.
I'll say it's a business, so I'll say anywhere. It'll sell above 15.
Okay. And then, you mentioned body sculpting, domain name consulting, personal print.com, which seems very brandable to me. Do you like those, but would you actually put in a bid on any of those to get them into your portfolio, or you're just saying, I'm looking at this list and telling you in general what I like and what I don't like?
Yeah, in general, it's what I like and what I don't like. I mean, I'd take domain name consulting if it was cheap. and I would take transcription services probably no matter what, within reason, whatever it went to.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the, as you know, I like the domains that are businesses in a box. You get the domain name, you get the business, and you just start, and away you go.
Yeah. I was chatting with somebody, Adam, about that comment that you just made, which you've made in the past. You like businesses that you can just set up and go. Would you actually buy transcriptionservices.com if you were going to build a business on it, or would you try and buy a better domain name like transcription.com or transcriber.com?
I have, on the CA market, I have a bunch of them that are shorter, like Transcribe and a few others close to that. But I think this one is quite complimentary on, it doesn't have to be exactly Transcribe or whatever. Transcription services, like translation services, it's a good domain name with services because the front end matches the back end well. So I would be fine and happy with transcription services to set up business. Then it's all up to me to market it and get it out there.
Yep. All right, Mike, let's go over to you. You're muted right now. If you can unmute, tell me what you like on the list and why.
I like the domain bodysculpting.com. Good for, obviously, cosmetic surgeons, plastic surgeons. It's pretty bang-on term. So I'm actually going to pick that number one on my list. And I think by far.
There's a lot of advertisers for that search phrase.
Yeah, I imagine there are, and obviously it's an expensive thing. I mean, obviously, you don't get the body I have naturally.
Just by sitting in front of your computer.
Yeah, you have to spend big money. This is a result of like hundreds of thousands of dollars. It really is amazing.
Wait, there's a place for returns.com. Where's returns.com when you need it?
What do you think body sculpting will sell for on NameJet, Mike? What do you think is a fair wholesale value? Assuming that there's no end users that show up for this NameJet auction, what do you think it might sell for?
I think it'll sell somewhere between 5 and 10. I think so, 5 and 10. Okay. Next one I like is one really for Mr. Schwartz, seniorhealth.com. So there are a lot of older folk out there that are looking for some health information and needs, and so that's a good name. And I don't know what Rick would pay for it, but I'm sure he spends a lot of money on that. So I do like that name. And then the third name that I like the Shelter. I'm big on the domains, of course. And I think the Shelter is kind of a cool name for things from housing to protection to women's shelters to bomb shelters, and it's just kind of a cool name. And if I have to, obviously the three-letter names are always worth something. It's hard as a domainer to pay more than a couple, maybe $3-4 grand for one of them, just to hold an inventory and hope somebody comes along, especially one with a Q in the middle. But I mean, it's certainly worth something. And I guess Wedding Supplies is a name, although I'm not sure I love it. Especially with the new GTLDs, I think there's probably better names that could be obtained that are more bang on than that. But that's it. The rest of them I really don't love.
Yeah.
I really have much to say about them.
Okay. What would you pay for the Shelter? As a brandable, in all those areas that you mentioned.
Yeah, I mean for me something probably around 500 to 1,000 max.
Because that's one that you're going to hold on to for a few years and hope that one of those types of businesses contacts you, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be used for a lot of more things than we probably think of. So I think it's just another one of these brandable names that could sell for 25 grand. So I think that's very doable. But you're going to hold it. I mean, you are going to hold it. I mean, the guy may come in a year. It may come in 10 years. But I think it's a good name. Yeah.
You don't do any proactive outreach for your portfolio, do you, Mike?
I do not.
You do not. So you just sold malls.com, which I want to discuss in the after show. Congratulations on that. You did not reach out to any end users for that one.
I personally did not know.
Yeah. All right.
No.
Hey, Paige, let's go to you. What do you like on the NameJet list?
Probably the same as everybody else, so I'll go over the ones that didn't get a lot of play. Body sculpting and transcription services, best two. Electronic dog collar, on one hand, a pure product name,
Yeah.
but just kind of long to be above, 1,000 or something wholesale. Ergonomic seating, it's officially a category, but you just don't hear it used that much. I've got to go get some ergonomic seating. Now, you would search for it, and if someone was in that business and said, hey, we do $5 million a year of ergonomic seating, we'd like to get a domain name. So, again, I want to buy it for 500 and sell it for 8,000. So,
but isn't ergonomic chair the category that you really are in?
Right, so you'd have to green engine and green savings. I really like green names. We have a whole store with green domain names in them, and I couldn't figure out why I would want a green engine. I guess maybe a hybrid engine or it saves power. But if it's low enough and we can buy it under 1,000, we'll buy it. Green savings, I couldn't figure out anything for that. My money, I'm going to save it. Green discounts for green stuff, but you'd want to be green discounts. Movie Haven, hey, it's brandable, but is Haven the best suffix for a brandable name? No. So again, neat name. Personal printing would be better, so I didn't like it. Retirement house, like Adam said, it's retirement home. Safe message was interesting. Could you? Again, it's a name that needs you more than you need it. So it needs someone to own it, and then it needs someone to go build a business, and then it needs someone to make it worth something. So. But it is an interesting area in terms of email or making sure your email gets through. I did like the shelter. I think there's a lot of people in our neck of the woods here in Tennessee that would buy home shelters and something. So if you wanted to come up with a new product that was maybe a standalone shelter or went in the garage or something like that. But again, you're trying to buy it for 2,000 or 1,000 and then wait to sell it for a bunch to someone who really said, no, I really can use it to make millions of dollars. And then wedding supplies is okay. I just don't hear it. I don't hear the bride saying, I've got to go get wedding supplies.
Right.
And so that's what took it off of being awesome. But the other thing, I'll speak about it now because we haven't talked about it, I don't think, in any of the shows. The IES and the YS is funny because so many words, when you make them plural, you add the IES, but it almost feels like in the world of chat and text message and all that some words we've gone back and the YS, even if it's not proper English, actually, I don't think in this case it would be wedding supplies with the YS, but it's funny how the informal text messaging has brought the YS back in where the IES isn't always used. So transcription services, body sculpting, top two, the rest of them just okay.
All right, and I notice on your whiteboard there, Paige, you are going to make your wife watch this show so you can get some
Valentine's Day love.
Valentine's Day kudos. Nice work, Paige. All right. Rick, let's go over to you. What do you like on the list?
Excuse me. Well, it's not as good a list as some of the ones in the past. It's still not a bad list. I mean, without doubt. What's that?
It's not as good as tacos.net.
The .net was absolutely the
I'm
worst
still going to pick
one
that up.
But, okay, so without doubt, body sculpting is the number one domain on the list, by 10 miles. I mean, that's a great domain name, and it stands out head and shoulders above the rest. Then you get to domains like Retirement House, even though I could go see Berkens there at the Retirement House. The problem with the retirement house, the problem with the retirement house, like Adam said, it's retirement home. It's retirement. So I hate any domain name that misses the mark because then it's just not a good domain name anymore. I mean, it's on the borderline of silly, and it almost shows incompetence if you're a business, because if you're a business and you can't get the term right, there's an competence factor, I think, it could display, and just not doing your job right.
Hey, Rick, let me ask you though.
Wedding supplies, not horrible, only because.
Sorry, we got a slight delay with you, and your picture's actually frozen, Rick. I'm gonna let you finish, and then I'll come back and ask you a question about Retirement House. Oh, okay, we're back. Let me ask you before we move on. You're saying that it shows potential incompetence if you're a business owner if you buy a retirement house rather than retirement home, but isn't it possible that you run a retirement home called Seattle Retirement House or Blueberry Retirement House, and then you buy Retirement House, which maybe has some search engine optimization benefits or some brandability?
Well, if that's what you have, I guess that's fine, but I don't think that's, the case in most cases.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, they're trying to get, I would just go with a dash at that point. I mean, I'd rather have, that's where we get back to the dashes again. Do I want to have the one that's completely off the reservation, or do I say, okay, you know what, I can't get retirement homes, but I can get retirement dash homes, and at least I'm in the club. That's all I think that, and as we go into the future, that's going to become a bigger and more rational question and decision, because there's going to be all these other questions facing them, and they're going to have to make decisions on which is going to serve them best. And no matter what the registrars want and what the registries want and the domainers want, it's all irrelevant. It's what's going to serve the end user the best in whatever their goals and aspirations are, and won't confuse the customer and won't lose them business. And it'll look good on a billboard.
Yeah.
Anyway, the rest of the list.
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, safe message again, like Paige said. Yeah, but now you have to build the platform around it. You've been waiting for that book for a long time. And accent flowers, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I didn't do any research on accent flowers, but if that's a category, I guess that's okay. Anything like that, flowers is a very, very difficult category to break into. So if you have something that's very specific and precise and people know what you have, I think it's a decent domain.
All right.
That's about it.
azweddings.com. Anybody like state acronyms and a category like weddings?
It's not a state. I don't know what's a state. It could be A to Z weddings. I don't know that it's necessarily a state. I didn't even think of it as a state until you just said it. To me, it was like A to Z.
Anybody else?
I don't like it. I mean, I think again, I think we'll talk about it, I'm sure, at some point later on. But these UGTLD things are live, and people are registering them, and there's actually some sales and there's some offers, and I think there's just too many options now coming to start doing things like putting any valuation on that kind of a name.
Well, I don't typically like it either, and I get tired of seeing stupid names like Miami FL Carpenters.com or Miami FL Floridas. If it's Miami, they pretty much know it's probably going to be in Florida. Unless it's Franklin, because there's 67 cities in the states named Franklin. I really wouldn't worry about it.
There's a Miami, Ohio.
Yeah, I know. They got a good football team.
I think it really depends on the name. We have a lot of stuff like this, but in this case, weddings isn't really a statewide thing. I mean, if you're in Tucson, you're not going to buy from a Phoenix vendor, and if you're in Flagstaff, you're not going to buy from. So maybe Arizona Travels or something, or something that would apply to the whole state. But I think in this case, cities, the two-letter codes, they get overvalued in the stats, I think, because they're in so many addresses that they end up having results and searches because people are typing in addresses with the two-letter state code in them, and that overemphasizes the number of searches and the number of results they have because they're just in a lot of postal addresses. So that's our thing.
Good point. All right, Sherpas. We're going to enter the lightning round. Instead of our usual registered or available game where you guess if a domain name is available for registration or already registered, today we are going to play Name That Price. Put away your placards. Here's how it's going to work. I'm going to name 4 domain names. We're going to go through them in series that may or may not have sold within the past 12 months. For each name, you're going to name a price that you think it's sold at. The closest answer without going over gets the win for the question. So if
What's the without going over thing? I think that's dumb.
Oh, come on. It's my rules.
It's the Price is Right.
It's the Price is Right.
That's
So
always
I missed by $1, but I
so
went
if
over.
Paige, hold on.
$1,
So if Paige answers $500 and Rick answers $501 and the answer is 1,000, then Rick wins because he's the closest without going over. All right. If the domain name has not sold or hasn't even been registered, you can answer 0. All right? All right, so I'm throwing that in there. Maybe I'm going to name a domain name that hasn't been registered.
You really want us to make this look bad, huh?
I'm going to write all your
You're gonna have
answers
to write
down,
it
and then I'm
down,
going to tell you
and
the
then we have to
answer.
hold
We have to write it down.
Listen, now at least we know why there's not a show next week, because we're all going to be so pissed at them we're not going to come for another week.
There's only going to be one answer there's only going to be one winner for each question. You are not
Hey,
allowed
you
to say
want
the
a
same
sponsor
number as
for the
somebody else.
lightning round. I want a sponsor for the lightning round. I need pins. I need shirts. I need new placards.
All right.
So if you're watching out there and you want to sponsor the lightning round, I don't
Sponsor
know.
it. You
This
could
is
go
all
up
I have,
on
so.
pages. All right, I'm going to look at estabot.com or DN Journal for the correct answers. We're going to do 4 domain names so we can do a full rotation. First up, Adam is going to answer first. Then we're going to go Mike, Paige, and Rick. Here's the domain name. Getmobile.com. Getmobile.com. Adam, what do you think the price, if it sold, was at? If it sold.
701.
Mike, what do you think getmobile.com sold for if it sold?
702.
Paige, what do you think?
Can you use it in a sentence?
If I'm going to get mobile, I don't know. Adam, you could probably do
What
it
is
with
the
a short
country
story.
of origin?
Adam will say a short story. All right, Paige is going to say 13,500 and Rick is going to say
Go for 703 and screw him.
703, I think, is.
all right, 703. Okay, so
You could have went to 0, and you
You
would
could have gone
between
0.
0 and 703. 701. That might
all
have
right,
been-
say 703.
so in this game, I'm trying to get you guys to think what's the valuation of the domain name and how much do I realistically think that it sold for in the past 12 months if it did sell. And that's the whole thing. I'm trying to trick you because I'm going to name some domain names that may have not sold and you're going to say, well, I think it has value. So we get inside your heads a different way. Do you guys want to know what it sold for?
Can you send us
Wait
like
a
a written
second.
terms and conditions, Michael? Like a written
Well,
statement?
wait a second. I didn't give you a value. I only said a strategic number to get those other 2 guys to my left out
Which
of
is fair
contention,
enough.
And
If
that
it's
was
not
between me and Paige.
If it's not 702, then Mike is screwed. So,
Right.
you know, you're saying that you think it's above $703.
I
you
think the value is much more than 703, but I don't think it's as much as 13,000 unless it went to an end user.
Right.
Unless it went for under 701. You should
Let's go.
take
Let's
0.
check.
All right. The answer was $2,000. It sold listed in DN Journal in August of last year. So the winner in that one is Rick. All right.
I
Next
get to go
up.
last because I got screwed.
I know. We're gonna rotate around.
I
Okay.
got screwed too.
Here's the next domain name. It's gonna go Mike, Paige, Rick, and Adam. Mike. First up, batteryexperts.com. Did it sell? How much?
Well, what do you mean, did it sell? I mean, you can't say, did it sell?
You bet I can. It's my game. That means
I'm
that
gonna-
if
I'm
it's
gonna
not,
go with-
if
I'm gonna
it's
go
not
with-
even
if it's not-
registered, say 0.
I'm going to say 0.
All right. Mike is
Did it
gonna
sell? Hey, a lot of great names didn't sell last year.
No,
I'm
no.
going to say 0.
All right. Mike is saying 0. Paige. He's pissed. He's going with the same.
2,500.
Rick, what do you think? Batteryexperts.com.
$2,500.
$2,500. And Adam, what do you think?
2501.
2501.
Bastard.
So, what's interesting is that it actually sold in July of last year, $13,000.
No, he's over.
Oh, Adam
He's
wins.
over. No, he's over.
He's over, and
over.
Adam got that
It's
one.
over.
Adam got that one, but you get a special place in my heart, Paige, for Valentine's
No
Day because
point.
you were the
Hey,
closest.
if you're comfortable missing by 80% and winning, that's okay with me.
I'm good with that.
Like I said,
1100.
there's a reason we're not going to be on next week.
Everybody's gonna be pissed with everybody else.
Paige, I didn't want to have to do math. Like, oh, you're up by 500, Adam's down by 501. I might screw up the
your
math,
game
so I
is
just wanted to
fine.
say
You make your rules.
Adam got the
Make your own
W.
rules.
All right,
I'm the guru. I'm the guru.
you're the guru. You get a special place in my heart, Paige. Next up, Paige, you get to talk. You get to answer first, then Rick, then Adam, then Mike. Next up, estate.com. We have .estate that just launched today, I believe, right? This is estate.com. If you think it sold within the past year, what did it sell for? Let's start Paige is saying 13,500. And Rick is
Nobody
saying
knows.
If it's sold in the last year, it would have sold probably for over $100,000. But I think I remember something around 85. But I'm going to say $100,000 and $1 because someone's going to come say $100,000 $2. I'm so screwed.
Adam,
Well, you really sold it with that, Rick.
I want to seal bid. Wait a second. I think we should have. Wait.
I'm sure Adam's baffled now what to do.
you should write it down and hold it up. Is that what? All right,
I
next
think
week.
hold it up from now on.
Next
because
week we'll do that. Adam, what do you think it's sold for if it's sold within the past year?
I'm going to take some strategy and make Mike pick one way or the other. So I'm going to go with 65,000.
All right, and Mike, what do you think?
I'll go with $65,001.
All right. Estate.com did sell. It was listed in February of last year, and it sold for $165,000.
Rick got his point.
Rick got his point. But what we learned was that Paige needs to branch out from his 13,500 answer.
I'm in
And
135,000.
we learned that Mike and Adam probably thought it was about a $65,000 domain name, or it might have sold for that in the retail market. All right, here's the last domain. We're gonna go.
What are
Rick.
the standings right now?
What are the standings? Rick is
1,
leading.
1, 1.
Rick's got 2. Adam has 1. All right, last up. We're gonna go Rick, Adam, Mike, and Paige. The domain name is wildapp.com. We have .app coming up soon. If this sold in the past year, what do you think it's sold for? Wildapp.com, Rick. He's going to go with 0. And Adam, what do you think?
We can't take the same thing, can we?
Well,
You can do whatever Mike wants because it's his game. So, I mean,
don't be bitter, Paige. I told you. I like you.
Oh, hey, let's just pick. There's 500 million domain names. Did this one sell last year?
Say 0. You can say the same 0. All right, Adam, your
What
turn.
the hell was the domain again?
Wildapp.com. I know, Paige is distracting you.
Wild App. I'll go with 8,000.
How much?
8,000.
8K. Okay. Mike, what do you think?
What do we have so far? 2 zeros?
We've got a 0 and an 8K.
Oh, okay. I'll go with 500.
$500. And all right, my friend, is that 13,500 or 135,000?
That's 13,500 yen, which
Okay.
is $800.
Even a stop clock is right twice a day, right?
What is your answer, Paige? I didn't see the whole thing. What is your answer?
13,500 yen,
All
which
right.
is $800.
So you're saying $800? Is that what you're
Yes.
saying? All right. And the answer is $2,395. So Paige Howe takes one of the questions, and the winner for today is Rick Schwartz. Congratulations, Rick.
Thank you.
Depressing.
Well, hold on. I have a protest.
Protest will be filed with ICANN.
Who was
Sorry.
sold twice?
No, I just Googled 13,500 yen and it came up to $131.
Oh!
No,
Not when you come exchange it. We're at my place.
I'm filing the
Oh, so I think Mike won.
It's 131.
We
Mike
have a
got
higher
that.
exchange rate here in Tennessee.
Like I
Mike
said,
got that
there's a
one.
reason we're off next week.
Seriously. All right, I'm going to lock down the rules if we play this game again. Let me tell you.
Clearly, that round goes to Mike, though, if that's what the yen is.
All right. It doesn't
No
make
way!
any difference on the outcome. Paige, I expect you to get your conversions nailed down for next
Well,
time.
and I want Paige's blood tested to see if there's any steroids in there.
All right, after show topics. I've got a couple questions submitted by users. We had a plethora of comments around Adam's comments about 4dprinter.net. So
Yeah,
we're
I
gonna
got some
discuss
after
that.
points, too.
And we're going to discuss some other questions. Any other questions that you guys want to talk about? I want to
Yeah.
talk about malls.com, Berkens.
Yeah, I want to talk about drops and how the people that watch this show are not analyzing the drops carefully. And then I want to also talk about trending and how people can find out about new things that are coming up like Frank Schilling does and grab those domains before he does.
Yes.
I want to talk about somebody who called me last week and said he watched the show religiously and got a lot of knowledge out of the show and appreciated all of the information, and told me he registered a bunch of .guru names, and then he told me what they were, and each and every one was a trademark infringing domain. So I was trying to understand. Yeah,
Oh my God.
Got that
That's what I mean.
So.
All right, let's talk about that.
He won't be available for a long time.
All right, I think we got enough topics, unless Paige and Rick, you've got something that's burning that you want to talk about?
I want to hear Adam.
All right. All right. Anything that you guys want to promote? Anything coming up? You're going to be someplace? You've got specials going on? You've got anything you want to promote, Adam?
Yeah, I'm launching a fifth web design company. They're all still running properly. This one is called We Fix Ugly Websites, or We Fix Your Ugly Website. And my line to these people is, you have an ugly website. And then I put a picture of their website, and here's how we can improve it. And I'm getting some very good callbacks out of it. So it'll be ready by the time this airs. We Fix Your Ugly Website is the main one, .com.
So you own We Fix Ugly Websites and We Fix
Your Ugly
Your
Website.
Ugly
And I've got
Website.
t-shirts made that say We Fix Ugly Websites, and those are pretty cool. And there's some neat marketing behind it, and it's
Cool.
working.
Awesome. Go check that out. This show's coming out tomorrow. Is the website going to be live by then?
It's live now. I just have some tweaks to give my designers.
Excellent. Mike, anything you want to promote?
I'm going to be in, not really promoting, but I'm going to be in Washington, D.C. next week for Fairwinds, our friends at our brand protection company, and also started the Coalition Against Domain Abuse. They're having a one-day Beyond the Dot new GTLD conference, so I'll be up there on Wednesday. If anybody's sort of around and planning on attending, come say hello.
Great. Yep, look for Mike there. Paige, anything you want to promote besides the love of your life?
We'll have another video up on newtlds.net, what we learned in the new TLD round in the second week. And we'll have some lists that you can get of available names and some names for sale. So
Awesome.
Yeah,
And what's that domain name again?
newtlds.net.
All right. Rick, what's
Just
going on?
Happy Valentine's Day to all you sweethearts out there.
All right. If you receive benefit from today's show, please post a comment and say thank you to today's Sherpas. Thanks to Brayden Pollock for submitting his portfolio and allowing us to discuss it vigorously in some cases. Thanks to NameJet for submitting their portfolio and sponsoring the Domain Sherpa Reviews section. Thanks to our Domain Sherpas for sharing their experience and insights. Click the video below to watch the after show, or if you listen to the audio or download it to your iPod, it is all in one audio file, so you can listen to it on your workout or on your commute or whatever the case may be. Oh, you know what, Rick? We forgot to pick a theme for next week.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
You can do it in the after show.
For the next
Make
show.
them tune in the after show.
Let's do it in the after show. We'll make them tune in. All right, that sounds good.
Am I supposed to pick a theme?
Hold on, we're gonna do it in the after show. All right.
Oh.
We should let Paige do it based on his calculation of yen to dollar.
Maybe we should do foreign currencies.
We can do currencies. All right, stay tuned. Here comes the after show. We'll see you all in 2 weeks.